Well, thanks for coming to the 2010 Christian Atheist Debate. We're going to do a quick introduction of the two debaters today. First off, to my left, Jed Smock. He'll be defending why I'm a Christian. Brother Jed is a former U.S. history professor at the University of Wisconsin, founder and president of the Campus Ministry USA, 36 years on hundreds of campuses in every state, as well as campuses abroad. A fixture at Speaker Circle for 6 years, featured in the film The Nature of Existence, which premieres in New York in June. Author of 5 books, media coverage in the Rolling Stone, Newsweek, newspapers across country, ABC News, NPR, 700 Club, etc. Website, brojed.org if you have any questions. All right, to my right, Dave Muscato will be defending why I'm an atheist. Dave Muscato is a 26-year-old musician, human and animal welfare activist, and sophomore at the University of Missouri-Columbia, studying economics and anthropology. Muscato's primary areas of academic interest are altruism, and the evolution of morality, especially how and why people support charitable organizations, both secular and in the context of religion. A former praise and worship bassist for a local evangelical Christian church with over 1,000 members, Muscato is now a practicing atheist who also discusses the evolution and philosophy of religion, informal logic, classical Latin, semantics, and etymology, ethics, and other related topics. He has appeared in Rolling Stone, People, Time, The New York Times, SPIN, Entertainment Weekly, Billboard Magazine, and on MTV News, VH1, NPR, MSNBC, ABC, Kevin and Bean, KROQ in LA, and on Howard Stern. Has traveled to more than 120 cities in 6 countries across 2 continents, and volunteers at a local animal shelter. Muscato also plays in 2 bands and is a member of the American Anthropology Association, the Society for Economic Anthropology, American Atheists, and American Mensa. All right, I'm Jason Wood. I'll be the moderator. 2005, I took Missouri state champion for NCFCA and defended the state against Wisconsin and Kansas in the national tournament. Woo! I was successful. All right, we're going to do a quick rundown of the rules here. This is supposed to be a more formal style debate.
Mrs. Smock already broke one of the rules.
Well, we weren't really underway yet, so if you have anything in your system, well, get it out as quietly as you possibly can now. Really no hurrahs, amens, clapping. Don't do anything to interject or intercede during the speeches. Each debater will be given 3 speeches to give their ideas and the defenses to. At the end of that period will be a question and answer segment. The debaters will choose who will get to ask questions. Please try to keep your questions to 1 minute. I mean, it's not your job really to give the speech. It's just if you have a point of interest or something to add or you're concerned about, go ahead and speak up. Everyone's welcome to speak at the question and answers. And the debaters will try to keep the answers to about 2 minutes. Okay? All right, with that, we flipped the coin, and Brother Jed won the head toss, so he'll get to go first.
Why I am a Christian. Number 1, I was raised in a Christian home. We attended the United Methodist Church in Terre Haute, Indiana. I learned to pray at my mother's knee. I was baptized and confirmed in the Methodist Church when I was 13 years old. However, I'm ashamed to say I was not truly a believer at the time. I never surrendered my life to Christ or from my heart chose to follow Jesus and completely submit myself to His will. When I went off to college, I began to think I was smarter than my parents. My father, who was a Christian, smarter than my mother, who was a Christian, and I thought the college professors knew more than both of my parents, even though my father was a college professor. So I began to listen to the skeptics, to the doubters, to the unbelievers, and I became a skeptic and a doubter and an unbeliever. The only reality I recognized was the reality of matter, of energy. Did not believe in the supernatural. I did not believe in God. When I graduated and got my master's degree in United States history, I began teaching school, eventually became a college professor. Having no moral standard to live up to that I believed, I thought anything goes. And so I got involved in the drug radical revolutionary movements of the 60s. As the saying went in those days, I turned on, tuned in, and dropped out. Ended up living on a hippie commune in Africa. I was on my way to India to study under a guru. And so, as a result of getting involved in drugs and the whole counterculture scene, I was beginning to reject materialism and beginning to think, well, maybe there is a spiritual dimension, a supernatural dimension in life that I am missing. The Beatles that went to India during that time, they studied under the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. So I was determined to go to India and study under the Maharishi, and I was going to become a Hindu. But before I ever got to India, I stopped in Morocco, North Africa, and I was living on a hippie commune. And I was already preparing myself for Hinduism, Eastern philosophy. I was practicing various forms of meditation. I would go down to the beach every evening at sunset and get in lotus position, and I would chant, Om, Om, Om. This was supposed to bring me peace of mind and enlighten me and make me more sensitive and aware. In reality, as all it really did was give the devil, Satan, an opportunity to get greater control of my mind than he already had. Well, it was Christmas Day, 1971, and we were all down on the beach having a big party with lots of wine and dope and burning of incense, lewd dancing, lewd women. Who's that coming down the beach? It appears to be a Moroccan. He's carrying a cross, an old rugged cross, and he marched in the midst of our hippie band, lifted that cross, planted in the sand, and began to preach in the name of Jesus. Now many laughed at him and mocked him, but I got to thinking. This got me to thinking how little I really knew about Christianity. Even though I'd been raised in the church, I had never read the Bible. Oh, I read, I suppose, the first couple of chapters of Genesis, the Christmas story, the Easter story, the 23rd Psalm, of course, but that was about the extent of my reading or study. Now, as a historian, I knew no book had had a greater impact on history than the Bible. And I thought I ought to read it. For that reason, if nothing else, I believe it's now that it's had a good impact. At the time, I thought it had a bad impact, but no one could question its impact. I had minored in literature as an undergraduate. I was the son of an English professor. I had to admit that the Bible was a literary masterpiece, that the Bible had inspired more literature, English literature at least, than any other book ever written. And so I decided, for intellectual reasons, I ought to read this great book, the Bible. No question I could be profited intellectually by reading it. I considered it, as a historian, to be the best written document we had of the ancient world, at least the ancient Middle East. So there on the beaches of North Africa, I began to read the New Testament. And I did not have to read very far to determine, well, if the Bible is true, I'm in trouble. If the Bible is true, I'm headed for hell. Now, previously when I read the Bible, or read books about the Bible, I was desperately searching for reasons not to believe it.